made me remember that. So I'll start again. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna be your teacher of patience today, okay? You're not gonna do it. So if you think about it, our what we're gonna do to be really fighting our proud mind is that we're gonna ask for help for the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And ask for the help is just because we trust them, right? But for trusting them, we need to investigate them. We need to learn. We need to contemplate, meditate. We need to check if they are valid. That's why, you know, making prostrations need to be something that comes from understanding that we are doing that for ourselves, not for others. Not for others in the way that others can help us in this way. Like they cannot do that for us. We need to want this. It needs to come from us, this wish. Okay? So we're going to do that, and we're going to chant the mantra over there. There's on the door. So we can visualize in front of us for those that would like to and can do it. You know, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are made of pure, beautiful golden light. Our teachers, the Dalai Lama, everybody's there. All those beings that have been practicing in an unbroken lineage since more than 2,500 years. Incredible. So then we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this prostration, seeing them, you know, as our object of refuge. And we can visualize surrounding us all the people that we want in our lives to be happy, all the people that we also have difficulties with, all the people and beings that we don't know. Because we also want them to be free from their negativities. So we can imagine them prostrating with us. And we start. Om Namo Manju Shriye Namo Su Shriye Namo Uttama Shriye Su. Om Namo Manju Shriye Namo Su Shriye Namo Uttama Shriye Su. Om Namo Manju Shriye Namo Su Shriye Namo Uttama Shriye Su. So these long prostrations, normally for us to complete what we call the preliminary practices, we do 100,000 of them. And there is a very beautiful practice called newness. In Tibetan, newness means fasting retreat. Fasting has no eating. Yes, not fasting of very fast, not like this. So it's a very, very special practice that was actually created by a woman. And she created this practice as a way to develop compassion toward others. So it's a practice that we start normally, that we do it when we do it in 2 days. So the first day, we have lunch, and that's it. We only have lunch. And then the next day, we don't drink or eat. But we are doing 3 sessions, sometimes 4, but normally 3 sessions of prostrations, of mantra recitations, of prayers. So the mind is quite active and the body is quite active. So it's quite challenging sometimes. But we say that if we do this practice, at least what we call a set of 8 units. So 2 days is 1, right? It's 1 unit. So you start at 5 in the morning of the first day. You go to you go to the second day, and you finish on the 5 in the morning on the third day. Right? Make sense what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we say that this is 1 unit. So if you do 8 units, you don't need to worry about your mind when you die, that you're going to go to bad rebirth, because you develop definitely some sort of wish to benefit others. This is quite challenging. It's a very mentally challenging, physically challenging, but very beautiful practice. Very beautiful, because it's based on Avalokiteshvara or Chenrezig, or the Buddha of compassion, which is that one on top of His Holiness over there. He's white to show his purity, and he has 1,000 arms, because out of his compassion of wanting to help others, he manifested 1,000 arms to help others. So he has a hand for every single person to give to them, to offer to them. That is the idea. All of these, of course, they are representations of our potential, right? That we can also be like a hand to every single person, every single sentient being in the world. Okay? Maybe next year when I come back, we do one of it. Just one. Should try. Taste. Okay. So today we are getting to the end of our Lamrim meditations, right? We are going to do, we have today and we have next week. No, next week, next Wednesday, or this Wednesday. This Wednesday. This Wednesday, Wednesday. So there are 2 topics that we still need to meditate on. It's great because we actually started at the same time of the morning meditations, right? The 7:30 meditations. So last week we did it, the meditations on wisdom, on emptiness. So for you today, maybe might be a little bit, but you just get what you what you can out of it. And don't worry so much. You're gonna definitely hear again and again and again and again. And so the meditations actually on emptiness and wisdom, they are the most important ones in Buddhism. Why? Because the Buddha, he taught 84,000 teachings, they say, during his 40 years that he was enlightened until his passing away. And all of these teachings, in one way or another, they are trying to bring us to this understanding and this realization of the concept of wisdom, or emptiness, or understanding reality. Because that's what the Buddha was about. The Buddha was not someone that invented something. He just observed reality, and he understood how things were, and he understood his own nature of his own mind, and then he just shared that with others. Just that. It's like, if you want to learn anything in the world, you need someone that has studied that, right? So if you want to learn how to drive, you need someone to teach you how to drive, or how to cook. Well, nowadays I think everybody can go on YouTube, but even though you need to have someone over there, on YouTube doing the recipe or something like this, or putting the recipe somewhere. But if you think about it, everything that we know, we learned. It was learned, right? We learned how to walk, how to speak, how to go to the toilet. We learned all of these things. So we want to learn to understand our mind. So that's what the Buddha can help us with. The Buddha is not going to help us to get the numbers of the lotto, the lotto. No, he's not going to help us with that. But he's definitely going to help us to understand how we can achieve a much bigger prize, which is freedom, which is going beyond our suffering, going beyond our limitations, opening our hearts into a vast way that there is no limit. That's what we can do. I think it's better than the lotto, no? So all of these can be done with 2 aspects of the path. So the path that the Buddha taught, he put it 2 aspects, 2 sides that they need to come together. One aspect is the aspect of the method. How do we actually practice? Okay? And one aspect is the aspect of wisdom, which is what are we practicing in some way, right? So what we are practicing is we are practicing finding ways to achieve reality, to realize reality. That's what we are trying to find, to understand, completely understand our mind and how things work. And how and why we do that is the method, which is compassion. That's how we do it. We do it with compassion towards ourselves, and we do it with compassion towards others. So by understanding a little bit more of our minds, we can already start to see the benefits that this brings. So we have been talking since the beginning of these um, meditations on trying to understand a little bit that things that we perceive and that they appear in our mind, they are not so fixed, right? They are not that permanent. They are not that permanent and fixed as they look like, right? You remember that? We've been talking about that? Yes? It's quite easy to see. Do we get angry all day? No. Sometimes we do, but it doesn't last all day, our anger, right? Or at least, depends, right? Depends on the if we have enough raisins. If we have enough raisins, or if we're close enough raisin stores, raisins. But there's ways that we can see that our mind fluctuates. Yeah, that's the word. Fluctuates. Sometimes I make myself even more problems because I invent these big words that I don't know how to say it, but they come. So fluctuates, right? We are here, we are there, we are here, we are there, we come up and down, we wake up sometimes very peaceful and the day is very relaxed and very beautiful, everything's okay. And then someone triggers us and immediately, no? And then we start, but this person, and then this person did this to me, and and we start to go into this loop, right? And we start to believe in this loop, believe that because it becomes our reality. It becomes the way that we are experiencing as if like it's permanent, it's never gonna go away. When we are actually experiencing it, you understand? When we're actually in the middle of the hurricane maybe not a good word, but here in Florida, maybe, or maybe it is, no, because everybody knows a bit. So when we actually in the middle of the hurricane, things look very concrete. But then things start to slow down and then we get distracted or we deal with that in some ways, we go to Netflix, we go to drinking, we go to Instagram, we go to all of these things to make our mind. And then we think it is over, we say, it's much better now. Oh, it doesn't look so strong. And then boom, another thing happens. It comes back again as strong as it was. So that is exactly what we are trying to say in Buddhism, that because these emotions, they are not permanent, they are not fixed all the time, that means that they come by causes and conditions. Make sense? That means that they come up if someone triggers us, because we have the potential to feel angry, we get angry. Make sense? Yes? What Buddhism is talking about is that through understanding the reality of our minds, we don't get that potential to become angry again. We eliminate totally, completely that cause, that root cause that makes us so strongly angry. And the biggest root cause of that, it is our idea of ourselves, the sense of ourselves, the idea that we have of ourselves. And that is very easy to see. Maybe only him, all of you are older than me here, or maybe only him than not. So you all have observed in your lives when you were, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Let's stop there. So we don't embarrass Jack. And then, and then, if you think about it, the way you saw yourself when you were 15 and the way you see yourself now, very different. And then you can even observe the things that you thought about yourself when, when you believed, oh yes, I thought that when I was going to turn 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, I was going to be like that, right? You understand what I'm saying? So we all create our sense of self. We all create our idea of ourselves. We create this very fixed and permanent idea on how we should be because of society, because of the way we grew up, because of family, because of choices that we made. That is the more overall explanation that we say. But there is another way that we actually do it, which is we just completely create habits in our minds and we just keep going. So we have habits. That's why therapists talk a lot, so much nowadays, especially nowadays, about childhood trauma, right? Because actually, childhood trauma is just the same things that we created when we were kids, and we just kept going with us again and again and again. It's almost like we took it, we hold it that, and we just go. We choose to stay with that. Sometimes we don't have so much of a choice, and that is the problem, right? Sometimes that thing happened, and that was the way we knew how to deal with that in that moment. But we took that as our identification with ourselves, and we thought that this was our reality, and we believed in that, and we made that concrete inside of ourselves. So we started to react and act because of that. But if you think about it, if we were talking before that we don't get angry all the time, we don't get like this, so why we decided to hold to that thing? You understand? Are we communicating? Yes? Good. That's very important because then we start to understand what the Buddha wants to say about emptiness, about saying that things are not existing from their own side. These ideas that we have of ourselves, it was not created by anyone else but us. Right? You agree with that? Yes. Makes sense? That's what I'm trying to bring about the logic. I'm trying to logic, like, come about with this conclusion that we created it. So if we create it, that means that it's just a mindset. It's just a thought. We have 16,000 thoughts a day or something like that. I never remember that number. I read about it many times. I never remember. It's something ridiculous like that. But actually, that identification of ourselves is just another thought. But we hold it, rest it, grab it, and say, my precious. The Lord of the Rings, maybe you understand the Lord of the Rings? No? So that's what we do, my precious, We keep it with us. And then we suffer because of that. We make it so precious and so cherished that we just do it everything to keep it safe. That thought, don't forget that. Just a thought, just an impression or a label that we created of ourselves. I should be like that. I shouldn't be like this. I need to act like this. I need to act like that. I need to dress like this. I need to dress like that. I shouldn't act like this. I shouldn't act like that. I should do this. I shouldn't do that. And then what we start to do? We create a cage that we call personality, that we call us, that we call me. And that's what the Buddha wants to break. Break free. I want to break free. That one? That is a very Buddhist song, That's what it is. We want to break free from what? Ourselves. Our image of ourselves. And then we have levels of that like that identification. And one level that we have is not only this craving that we want to then attach to everything that we like. Oh, yes, I love Pringles. Oh, yes, give me Pringles, you know? Or you say, oh, no, I don't like water. So, no, 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 take me water out of this. So that's what we start to live. We live like that. Everything that I like, I want close to me. Everything that I don't like, I want very far away. Make sense? So, but then what happens is that we believe in this mind and we go doing that again and again and again and again, and we create habits and habits and habits. So then at the time of death, what we do? We have that very strong grasping in our minds. So in Buddhism, we believe in reincarnation. So that really strong grasping for me wanting Pringles and not wanting water is going to make me want to then be reborn again so I can continue looking for Pringles and water. You understand? So then I come back in another life doing the same thing again and again and again and again. And in Buddhism, that's what we call the cycle of samsara, or the cycle of suffering. And that's what we want to break in Buddhism. And to do that, we need wisdom. We need understanding. We need to understand that things don't exist like that. I don't need to be craving for Pringles and water in order to be happy. I don't need to believe that this one aspect of myself that I created in this life when I was young, I need to hold on forever. Why? Because everything is impermanent and changing all the time. So when we were young and then mom and dad started screaming at each other, and then, the first time we got a bit worried about it. So each of us created a different coping mechanism, as I like to say, right? We all created, but we carried that since forever. We have been carrying this. So every time we see another person screaming or the possibility of someone coming to scream to us, we go into that coping mechanism. So we start to have this heavy backpack with ourselves that every single moment it becomes just another, let's say, representation in our minds of something that happened. But the situation is different. You are different. Everything is different. You understand that? Do you understand? That is so important. So we can start to understand that things are not so permanent, so fixed as they appear in our mind. They are just an appearance, just a thought. And we are labeling it. Yes, this is true. So I need to actually be like this. No need. No need for that. If we understand the mind, if we understand that the mind, that these thoughts coming by because we had this wrong view in the past. In the past, we thought that we needed that, but now we don't need it anymore. We can let it go of the backpack. We let it go of the rocks and stones of the backpack that we've been carrying, right? So all of the Buddhist teachings are for that. Completely cut that sense. And if we go really thinking about and looking for this I that experiences, me that experiences all of these sufferings, where is it? We go a little bit more subtle, just the thoughts, but then who is experiencing these sufferings? When we get angry, where is this I that is experiencing suffering? Right? What is it? It's almost something that it looks like it's like mm, a third part of ourselves. It's not the body, but we feel when we feel angry, we can feel that our hearts and we sweat and we have our hands like are sweaty, and when we are angry at someone, or and then we can feel in our minds are totally agitated. We are like, "Rrr." It's almost that there is someone else, something else feeling and experiencing all of that. Yes, makes sense what I'm saying? Like almost like a third uh experience, or like the experiencer, the experimenter, experiencer. How would you say? The person who is experiencing. It's almost that. It's almost like a, there's something there experiencing me. I am experiencing that. I'm experiencing my mind become like I experiencing my body. If we look for it, where is it? Is it in the body? Is the I, the me, this I that I cherish so much, is in the body? Is it? So if I chop my finger, I lose my eye? No. People don't have legs, people don't have, but they still have an eye, no? They still have that sense of me, right? So it is the mind then. Oh, but if it is the mind, what exactly is? Because if we think, we just said that we have 16,000 thoughts. So which of these thoughts is the I? Because they're always changing. No? They're not changing?
No, they're all thoughts. Yeah.
That's it. So the mind is just continuing, changing, continue changing. So where is this I? We actually try to look for and pinpoint and say, oh yes, where is it? Where is it? You understand what I'm trying to say here? That is the investigation of the Buddha. The Buddha is trying to investigate and say, where is it? This I that you're cherishing so much, this I that you want to have the Pringles, this I that wants the water. If it is not just causes and conditions coming together and you labeling them, I like this, I don't like that, I want this, based on what? This idea of yourself. Make sense, Sharon? Yes? Are you with me?
Of something that happened earlier today. Trying to
Bring together. Very good. This is very good. That's it. You always try to bring whatever we say here to exercise this in your daily life. That's the best. But if we start to look for it, you know, if things function and work because they depend on cause and effects conditions, how can they be so complete, this I? Right? So that's what we're going to do a meditation on today. We're going to try to find the I. Okay? We're going to try to find the I. So for you guys, that is your first time here? Sir, is that your first time here? No? Okay. You're not going to be that scared that we're going to be looking for the I. But that is what we're going to do today is very special. It's the most special. So you guys came the perfect day to do it. Very good karma you have. Because when we start to look for the I, is the I in the body? Because if you think about it, what is me? A body and a mind, right? Remember, we were talking about doing the prostrations. The body and the mind had an interconnection. They are interconnected, right? So if I'm feeling sick, the mind becomes a bit weak. The body becomes weak. The mind becomes a bit weak. It's harder for us when we are sick, no? When you are in bed, like lying like this, and then someone asks you to think about dozens of things and make decisions. Very difficult, right? The opposite as well. When we are depressed, tired, and burned out, the mind very down, we feel physically like a potato bag, I say. It's just like very heavy. So they are interconnected between them. So the mind and the body. So where is the I? The I must be one with the body and the mind, or something outside of the body and the mind. If it is outside, where is it? Is it this the eye? Is it here the eye? Maybe behind me. Where's the eye? You understand? That's what we're going to try to look for today. Make sense? We're going to try to do it. This is a meditation class, and normally I start to do, oh no, I'm just going to talk a little bit, and then I start blah, 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 blah. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. So let's do that. Let's try to meditate. Okay? So we're going to do a meditation on this topic of the eye. And before every meditation, we always start with our posture. So those that know already, you can start your posture. I was just gonna go through it a little bit for our friends. So the most important is if you are sitting on a chair, then you try to have your feet very stable, touching the ground or the cushion, not crossing the legs or anything like this. And then you make sure that your spine is as straight as possible, but not tense, not like, ooh, that is actually creating some pain. And then your hands, they can be on top of your knees, or if you want, there is a what we call a concentration mudra, which is the right hand on top of the left, and then the thumbs slightly touching each other. That creates a good also art for the arms to have some good posture. The arms that don't get them tired, and they represent the union of wisdom on the left and compassion. So them together, just slightly touching, that's what we want to achieve. And then we make sure that our shoulders are relaxed as well. Making sure our neck straight as possible, but also not tense. And our head tilted a little bit forward, not forward, but down. And our eyes, they can be either completely closed or slightly open, so there's a bit of light if we are feeling a bit tired. That brings a little bit of light so we don't fall asleep. And our tongue touch the upper palate or the back of the upper teeth, so saliva doesn't becomes a problem. Now that we found our posture, we can start looking into our minds and especially into our motivation for sitting here and meditating. If we understand what we just discussed about cause and effect, then the cause of our minds to go into this or that direction, the motivation we create about it. So if we want to have a pleasant, joyful, happy result, we should create a motivation that will bring about that. So maybe we came here today to meditate because we were going through some things in our lives and we wanted some space, even if inner space. And we might start to understand that looking for happiness, joy, and pleasant experiences outside on temporary things like money, career, relationships, food, Netflix, Instagram. They don't actually work. But we start to understand that if we have a more peaceful and calm mind, then we start to get these pleasant, joyful, and happy experiences in a more long-term, long-lasting way. And for that, we need then to eliminate the causes that create us not to have this peace of mind, which is our negative delusions or negative emotions that disturb this peace of mind. And also the habitual tendencies that we created for following these mindsets again and again and again, creating a fixed idea about ourselves. Not only that, but we can also, by understanding our mind, see that we already have love, kindness, compassion, patience, generosity, so many good qualities. But they are restricted by this attachment to me, myself, and I. So we also try through meditation, and especially this meditation on understanding reality, to break this limitation so we can love, be compassionate, kind, in an unlimited and unconditional way towards all. So with this motivation in mind, this wish to do this not only for ourselves, but this wish to, by doing it, by achieving this peace of mind and freedom from our negative tendencies, by opening our hearts to all, we can actually help others to do the same. We cannot do for them, but we can be a support. So then we start paying attention to our breath, bring a bit of concentration to our mind. We try to concentrate our attention into the subtle sensations of the air coming in and out of our nostrils. And we use the vigilant part of our mind to be aware every time we lose track of our breath and we engage into thoughts about the future, past. And with mindfulness, we remember that right now, for the next minutes, just gonna bring the attention to our breath again and again and again. Let's just do this for a few minutes, concentrating on our breath. Become aware every time you lost the attention from the breath, and gently bring it again and again. Just concentrating on the breath, subtle sensations every time the air comes in and out of your nostrils.
Now that we were able to focus and concentrate our minds a bit better, we can start our analytical part of our meditation. So we let it go of the attention to the breath, and we start to do the analysis, the investigation. So as we are looking and meditating on the I and this sense of I that exists so strong in ourselves. So in order to first recognize and identify it, just think of a time when you felt a strong emotion recently. Maybe someone said something to you that hurt you, or you got angry at something that happened. Try to remember how this I appeared at that time. Maybe you felt injustice, or you thought that I didn't do that, or how this person say this to me. It almost feels that there was this I that I could see it, no? This third person. In a very independent and permanent way, almost self-existent, always been there. That's just who we are. But as we discussed, if this was really like that, this independent self, independent I existed, it would have to be either one and the same with our body and mind, or completely separate from our body and mind. Because that's what we are, just the body and the mind. It's just one with, or totally separate from it. So now let's try to look for this sense of I. We start to investigate our bodies, and we pinpoint anywhere in our body that we can call I. Is our feet the I? Maybe our knees. Is that what we call the I? That gets angry or hurt when someone says something we don't like? Maybe it's our belly, our stomach. Is that the I? Maybe it's our heart that is bombing all this blood around. It does feel that it's hurtful in the heart, but when someone says something to us that we don't like, but is it really the heart that is painful? That is the eye. So when people do a heart transplant, they do an eye transplant, a meat transplant. Maybe the eye is the brain. Is the eye the brain? We actually try to see all our cells and all of the small protons and neutrons and everything that makes a cell. Can we actually look and pinpoint and say, this is the eye? But maybe the eye is the mind. So when you think about the time that someone said something to you, or you got angry, or some emotion came up, was there the eye? So where is the eye now? Where is it? It's my memories, then the eye. Then how do I go into the present moment? Are my emotions, feelings, sensations the eye? But thoughts, they're changing all the time. So which one of them is the I? It's this self-existent, independent I that I experience. So as we can see, there's nothing in the body and the mind that we can pinpoint and say, this is me. Not even the combination of the two makes it the I, because combination of the two is made of very many parts, various parts. Just try to find it in the body or in the mind. The combination of them then would be many I's, many me. So maybe the sense of me or I, it's outside, somewhere else, like an observer. Is that possible? So then why do I get angry when someone says something to me, if it is outside of my body and my mind? So as we can conclude, the I cannot be found one with our body and mind and one separate. So he's not as permanent and independent as it actually looks. So maybe we don't need to defend ourselves and cherish ourselves and be so selfish. And because we have thoughts, we believe that one of these thoughts is permanent. And we labeled whatever our names is because our parents gave. We believe that this is fixed. That's who we are. It's just a label, just a name. So in this way, we can conclude this meditation by using our day-to-day experiences to check every time we get a strong emotion. Where is that I'm feeling? And who is experiencing that strong emotion? Is there anything there so concrete and permanent and independent? Or it's just a wrong view, a wrong way I am perceiving myself being permanent and independent, when in reality I am impermanent and dependent on cause and effect. So in this way, we dedicate all of these efforts that we do in order to look for this I, to check its so strong independence, permanent existence, that we are able to then decrease more and more this feeling of cherishing this idea, this wrong idea of ourselves. And the opposite, that we are able then to see our interdependence, how we depend on others, so we can help them to also be happy and not suffer. So we dedicate in this way. Very easy, no?
Work in progress.
That's it. That is what we are. We are work in progress. But I find it very, very interesting to actually meditate on emptiness. Emptiness is meditating like this, it cuts every problem if we actually meditate it correctly. You need to be careful to not think then, I don't exist, so I can just do whatever I want and things like that. No, you exist by causes and effect. If you act in the wrong way, you're going to receive wrong behavior. It's just cause and effect, right? You are nasty to people, people will be nasty to you, it's just as it is. Cause and effect. You cannot escape that. But also we cannot thinking, oh, then I exist so concrete and so permanent, and I need to just me in the world, and I need to, do everything I need to cherish this, which is what we're doing now, right? Just thinking about me, myself, and I. Again and again and again. Me. From the time we wake up until we go to sleep, it's just me. I want this, I need that, I want to do this, I need to that. And then we think, oh no, I need to go and help this person. But the help we give is just me, about me. Look how nice I am, how good I am. Or we go and say, oh, this person, I need to help this person. You know? Sometimes we do have very kind, mm, beneficial, and loving mind. Then we start to taste it, right? We were discussing yesterday, when sometimes we give to others, really give to others, we get much more. Then we say, wow, this is good. And then the Dalai Lama says, that is being wisely selfish. The more you think about others, the more you get. The more you understand your interdependence and your dependence of others, and you want these dependence then to be a loving, kind, compassionate one, the more you're going to get. So that is wisely selfish. So the more you are kind to others, the more probability you have them will be kind to you. And that's what we all want. You want people to be kind to you. The other person wants everybody to be kind to them. Isn't that like, I don't know, sometimes it seems so simple. You understand? It is just simple. You go to the supermarket, you're kind to the people who are there because they are there doing their jobs, being kind to you, because otherwise you will not have your whatever you want to buy in the supermarket if they were not there. Someone else will do it. Someone else will be kind then. Everything that you have right now is due to the kindness of others. Your house, your food, your shelter, your feelings of love and compassion and kindness, everything depends on others. So be wisely selfish. Think about others more and not so much of this. Because this me, where is it? It's just a completely deluded idea, completely creation of the mind. Okay? So this is really like the beginning of meditation on emptiness and wisdom. We just need to do that like for maybe 300 lifetimes, and then we are there.
I wonder what number I'm on.
You are very advanced because you are here already. So that's already something. Yes, please.
Meditation, I was thoughts that we have,
Yes.
do they come from the mind and the brain? Oh,
Yes.
because the mind has all of our mental habits,
Yes.
right?
Oh.
Okay, so the brain kind of processes.
Yes.
Does that happen?
Yes. Because we have mental habits when, for example, we were a dog, right?
Yes.
So when you have the brain of a dog, then these potentials will come up. You understand? That's why dogs are different. Some dogs are more shy, some others are more,
Yeah.
fluffy and like this.
Right.
So it's because of the brain. We all have different in our minds, different habits, because everything that we do creates a seed. So depending on the conditions, those seeds are going to sprout in a certain way. So if you have a brain of a dog, then the sprout is going to be the possibilities of a dog. You understand?
Mhm.
So it's going to sprout if you are a snake, if you are a mosquito, if you are an ant. That's why we say that being a human being is the best rebirth we can have. Because what can sprout for that is what we are doing now. Can use these conditions of having a good brain that can develop kindness, compassion, love, and all of that, which I'm not saying that the animals can't, because if you see some of these animals, they can be very kind and special. My mom, especially, she's sometimes I see these little videos, or I online they appear about like animals, like trying to help other animals, and it's just incredible. Of course, there is, right? but it's limited. They cannot talk, they cannot like do, they cannot think, they cannot do many things that we can. They do it, but it's a limited, restricted version of it. But here, wow, we have everything, right? We have a body, we have a mind, we have the interest, we can do so much. That's why it's so special, right? Just a sec. Yes, Alex.
If we meditate emptiness,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because karma is a creation, it only happens because of a wrong view of ourselves, right? It only exists, karma, because of ignorance. And emptiness or wisdom is what cuts ignorance. Ignorance on what? Ignorance on the way that we exist, what we just discussed, right? We think we are permanent, we think we exist, we are carrying on this backpack, we are doing this. So because we are carrying all of that, what we do? We cherish this and we start, yes, yes. So that's karma, right? Action. Every action that comes from that intention. Intention to cherish myself, right? And why? Because the self that we cherish so much doesn't exist in reality, in the way we are perceiving it, right? So meditating on emptiness cuts that. Therefore, cuts the habitual patterns that this wrong sense of I has of doing things. So the more we meditate on emptiness, the more we can see the seeds and the habitual patterns that we have created, so we can stop them more and more and more. So that's why we always say the best is the combination of understanding of emptiness and what we call purification practices, right? Vajrasattva, for example, right? We meditate and then we understand the emptiness. It's not Vajrasattva who's purifying us. Vajrasattva is just actually a reflection of our own mind. It's the perfection that we can become. Just like in Vajrasattva, we can become perfect. That means eliminated our suffering, okay? So we can just purify ourselves by understanding our own mind. It's incredible. It's very subtle, but it's there. So yes, it's definitely we can. You're going to ask something.
So I wanted to share one of my practices and see if you could
Mhm.
add to it. I do have the commitment and the intention to be more mindful of what's in my mind.
Very
and
good.
observing it. When I notice something that I don't, that I would consider either fearful or anger or any of those. So I sit with, like, I stop to notice it and just allow it, notice it, rather than, which I used to do, push it down.
Yes, 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 yes. Very good.
And
Very
then, I really try to, I just take a moment to really notice it and give myself compassion.
Yeah.
And because I know when I'm more compassionate for me, therefore I can be
Yes,
compassionate to others. So is there any suggestions that you have?
yes. You can just use what we meditated today. You can understand that whatever is happening to you, you create it. That makes us first empower ourselves and stop victimization. There's no victimizing ourselves anymore. Okay? So that is the first point. Because then it becomes like, if this is happening to me, it's because I created the causes for that. Right? So then, okay, why did I create the causes for that? Because of a wrong view of myself that I'm holding on to. And if I look for this self that is so concrete and is, then where is it? What is her name again? Sorry?
Brenda.
Brenda. And then you can say, where is Brenda? Where is it? Who is Brenda? Who is this Brenda that is feeling so tight? And where is it? It's just something that is coming and going. And because of a wrong view that I'm not getting what I want, because that's where anger, then you need to start to understand what anger is. Anger is, I don't get what I want, or I get what I don't want, right? Like, I don't want to get sick and I get sick, so I get angry, right? Or I wanted a new car and I don't get a new car. Then I get angry. So anger comes from, and where is this I? Where is it? Is the body? Is in the mind? If it is the mind, it's always changing. So why is something now I'm holding on so strongly? Where is this permanence? Why am I creating permanence? Then this starts to open space, 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 space. And as I say, you start to understand that the way to be compassionate to ourselves, that needs to be very careful. Self-compassion, self-love, very careful. Because for me, especially in the Western side, sometimes we think that I'm just gonna give what I need and what I want, right? That's not the idea. Because then, but self-love and self-compassion is, look, I did that. Because sometimes when you start to analyze, you start to see why this is coming from, right? Why you got angry? Because I didn't get raisins. And why I didn't get raisins and I got angry? Because my mom used to give me raisins and I miss my mom and I don't want to miss my mom, right? So then you say, why? Because I don't want to feel lonely. But then you start to say, but loneliness is existence. We are born alone, we die alone, right? But we can share our time with others, right? So then you start to understand reality. And then you start to say, and I got angry because I didn't understand reality. So I don't need to be angry at myself because of that, right? So I can actually give myself the benefit of like, wow, I didn't know that back then, but now I know. And now from now on, I'm gonna make an effort not to be angry when I don't have raisins. I know you're gonna miss me so much, aren't you? Do you understand?
Yes.
That is like, then it becomes more an analysis. That's why we call analytical meditation. Analytical meditation needs to be something that we are analyzing, right? We become mindful. That's the best. Very good. First, we need to notice what is going on. Once you notice, then you start to analyze. Oh, is this that? Is this that? You know? So you go, as I always like to say, is that now we're just seeing things in one way. And then you start to see in different ways. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You're analyzing. And the more you analyze it, it doesn't become so concrete. And, you get a space. And you see, there's many aspects of it. You understand? So that is the idea of the analytical meditation. Then you use that on your daily life. Use it. Whatever happens, then you see changes. Very big changes. Okay? So we need to finish because otherwise I don't stop blah, blah, blah. So thank you so much for coming and for meditating on emptiness. I'm so happy we did that. And then this Wednesday. So the last meditation we're gonna do is gonna call on Guru devotion, okay, or spiritual or devotion to the spiritual teacher, reliance on the spiritual teacher, okay. So I'm gonna do a very big disclaimer before we start talking about that, but just for you to know that's what we're gonna do on Wednesday if you want to come.
Wednesday, what time?
It's at 5, right?
Yes.
5 p.m. Yes. It's a bit earlier. Yes, it's a bit earlier. And we're going to talk about it, the spiritual teacher, because we're going to start to understand why we need spiritual, why it is important, And then you're going to understand that I am not spiritual teacher at all, but then you can find a good one.
Yellow pages.
Yellow pages, exactly. If you have good karma, maybe you find on yellow pages.
Google it.
Google it, exactly. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys online.
Thank you.
Now I can say it like that. Yes, please.